Welcome to Sad Boyz, a podcast about feelings and other things also. I'm Jarvis.
I'm Jordan.
And
What do you think of this?
Now what do? Do we just do a podcast? You're wagging your finger like Dikembe Mutombo.
Yeah, you think it's adding maybe a little sauce to the show, you know?
Well, I feel like right, but who are you saying that to?
You can't do that.
Do what?
Well, there's plenty of people listening. Someone's probably doing something untoward,
you can't do that. Okay, yeah.
You can't
you can't stop. Wait. No,
hey, Sam, you can't do the dishes
Sam,
right now.
quit. No, Sam, stop it. You can't do that.
I know you're doing chores.
Every week we have a new person who we tell to stop doing something.
I always picture it as dishes. If someone's listening
stop
to
doing
show.
the dishes?
It's always dishes.
Why would you want them to stop doing the dishes?
Boring.
Are you a part of Big Dirty?
I'm big and dirty. Cut it out.
Dude, since Jordan got in the pocket of Big Dirty, the podcast has gone downhill.
Everything underneath the clothes, pure dirt.
Oh, man. Yeah.
What's the default chore in your mind? I go to dishes.
Trash.
Oh.
Trash is default. But you know I have a history.
That's true.
I was born of the trash.
It's more than a chore. It's a war at this point.
It's the chore war.
This is the first place you've lived in living memory without a trash war?
I would say that it's possible that there is a trash war. I just haven't gone public. It's kind of like a trash cold war. You know?
It's a proxy battle.
Yeah, it's a proxy
I've noticed
battle.
some other people using your trash bins. That's all I'll say.
The CIA over here. He's foreign information. Messing with our domestic affairs. I think he's spreading agropop.
Sometimes one of my trash pet peeves, and it's not a big deal, but is those who listen to Sad Boyz for a very long time will remember some of my trash trials and tribulations, TTT.
The historians of you out there will remember the previous wars.
But I would say that recently, not too many issues, except I do have a pet peeve when someone will use my compost and I don't take if I haven't composted anything, I may not think that I need to take it out.
I see what you mean.
And then so I have to check to see if someone else is, because one time someone did yard work and then put their stuff in my bin, and then I needed to remember to take it out because then when we were doing yard work, it was full, and I was like, "Well, egg on my face."
More fool me.
But I would say ethical question, because I do think there's some crime, right? You're not supposed to use someone's trash. Isn't there a crime somewhere?
Do not kill.
I'm not saying that someone else is doing that crime to me. I'm about to admit to a crime. So I want to know.
There's illegal dumping. If you're filling up a dumpster that you're not supposed to be
dumping
using.
in somebody else's yard.
Yeah. So here's my moral conundrum, and it's a question for the room. It's midnight, the night before trash day. All the bins are on the street. I'm telling you a story, a fairy tale.
Twas the night before trash day.
Okay. Twas the night before trash day. All through the street.
I've got one of those sleep caps on, and I'm bundled up in my bed. You're reading me a book. Story sucks.
And you, through one reason or another, have a little bit too much trash. So much trash that you won't be able to put it all in your bin. However, the bins that are out, the bins that'll be picked up at 6 a.m,
whose owners are asleep,
may have some space. Your options are A, leave the trash until after the trash gets picked up and then put it in your trash bin, or B, toss the trash bag into someone else's who has room, and it'll be unbeknownst to them what they don't know.
They won't even have the chance to.
They won't even know because it'll get picked up and they'll be none the wiser.
Unless they're a 4 a.m. hobbyist for throwing trash away.
They're 4 a.m. I've already taken the trash out, but now it's time to throw out the mega trash.
I've got my Saratoga. I've been doing push-ups on my balcony.
Right. I drank 12 Saratogas just now. I need to toss them into recycling before. And what's this?
I've used all my ice. I better throw the bag away.
Yeah, what do you do in that scenario?
I'm known as the bad boy of the show. I'm kind of the renegade. You can't hold me back. I'm basically John Wick and the whole world kill my dog. I'm holding nothing back. I'm at war. I think first move is I forget to take the trash out.
Okay.
That's scenario one.
Okay,
so we're kind of timeline A.
Right.
Almost certainly is the case.
So in this world, well, let's say you had forgotten to take the trash out.
Of course.
But now you forgot to take the trash out last week, and so now you have too much trash.
And you've been gaming all night, so you've been up
I'm at my strongest.
2 a.m.
You're up till 2 a.m. and you're like, I've got double trash.
Well, now I've never been more focused in my life than when I'm in the gamer zone.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now the gamer zone, a game just ended. You just got a high score in Balatro.
I'm wiping my hands.
Yeah, you're wiping your hands. You're blowing them like a gun.
I'm saying yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to call my family. They have started screening my calls because I keep telling them about like which jokers I used for a
Right.
top tier run.
You were talking about the kill screen of Balatro, which is reachable once you get enough exponents or whatever. They can't store the number, and you start getting not a number as your
Hello?
score.
Me on the phone. Hello. Did you
Yeah.
hear me?
So what do you do? Do you use someone else's trash can? What they don't know won't hurt them, or do you live by the straight and narrow?
I have a
Anastasia looks disgruntled.
I'm mad because who
damn
gives
war.
a shit? Like, just okay, here.
You're shaking.
I have been walking a dog before. Someone's trash can's in front of their house. I'm holding this poop. I'm just gonna throw it in their trash. It's in front of their house.
Criminal.
Who gives a shit though?
You
Why?
just did. You just
Bro.
gave a shit to the trash can.
And you're right to. I could not be
literally
more
just
on
I'm
the same
a
delivered
page.
shit.
socialist, and I think all trash is for the people.
Yeah, there's like a crowd of people here who
Oh
just
my
erupt.
God.
Wait, where did they come from?
They come to every show, but they never like what we say.
Yeah. They've never reacted to a
I
single
just
thing.
hate these like NIMBY people who all they do.
The question was for Jordan, by the way. No. Continue.
Like, you're gonna be a freaking Mrs. Kravitz and constantly look out your window and get mad if someone puts trash in your trash can. Who cares?
Mrs. Kravitz.
I don't know.
Mrs. Kravitz is from an old TV show that
was
no
like-
one here was alive.
It's a show from the 50s called Leave My Trash Alone.
So I agree. I
Especially the dog poop one.
am one to give a shit to a trash can.
Gift.
Wait, that's where you shit in trash cans.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, well, you're going to dox him now.
Yeah.
There is, near my place, on the exact route we'll walk the dog, there are a collection of trash bins that are never full and always outside.
You're
That's
asking
public
for
trash.
it.
Right, we are trash victim blaming here. No, but I will do. I'll admit it. I will go down the street and I'll open up the trash bins and I'll go, that one's pretty empty. This honestly, this bag can fit, and not only would no one be the wiser, but even if they wanted to throw something away, they still could. And so I'm like, it's actually usually only happens when we would like host a big party, and then the next day it would be like a ton of people worth of trash, so it would be hard to otherwise get rid of it quickly.
Peeps, cuff him. This has been a sting.
No.
We're all wearing different wires.
I've been an undercover cop the whole time, just waiting for
It all
Jarvis to
makes
admit to a crime.
sense.
I just want to hear a good explanation. Like, I heard one person one time say that they were mad that people threw their dog poop in their trash can because then when they wheel the trash can into their garage, it stinks. Doesn't trash normally stink?
Also,
Does your trash not stink?
yeah, how much dog poop? I feel like it takes a lot of dog poop.
I will say, as long as the dog poop is contained,
Yeah, if it's in the
that's
bag.
fine. I pride myself, this is weird, but I pride myself on a clean garbage bin. I do clean it out every couple months. I will take a scrub brush and a hose
Whoa.
and clean it out because when I take the trash
bin
out,
outside, not the can.
yeah, the bin
Yes, yes,
outside.
yes.
That's crazy.
Because
That's bonkers.
I will say though, I was in a situation once where I had to order new trash bins from the city, and it was kind of awesome. Like when you get a new trash bin, you're like, damn, like you cleaned up nice. I've never seen you like this before.
Well, it's like where I live, like it's
In a trash can?
apartment. Yeah, I live
Yeah.
in the dumpster. I'm
Good,
with my
by the way.
roommate Oscar.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have a comically placed banana peel on your head, by the way, and stink lines coming off of it.
Right, yeah. Your hat
My
is
clothes are like plastic bags.
yeah, and your hat is the top of a trash tin.
It's like a Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
You do look like the inside of a Jack in the Box.
Whoa. Well, yeah.
new-
Hold on.
I feel like add to the bingo board, we give peeps a new profession and or identity.
But like it's apartment, so there's no like singular trash bins. We all just throw our bags in a collective dumpster. And so it's like if I have a lot of trash towards the beginning of the week. I don't want to throw all of it away because I don't want to fill it up too much.
Yeah.
So it's like,
oh, interesting.
if you have like the individual trash bins, if it's the night before, like if everyone's trash bins were out all week and you started doing it like at the beginning of the week.
I've actually only ever done this
crazy.
the night before trash pickup because I'm trying to minimize inconvenience for like basically in my mind, there's zero inconvenience because it's not about keeping it a secret. They won't even know it, but it's more like it will never affect them. And it's not. I'm not putting
considerate trash bandit.
Yeah, and I'm not putting like raw poop in there or anything like that. That's going to dirty the trash can because that could be something that
Nobody would do that.
I've even been known to
fucked.
double bag dog poop when it's going in someone else's trash can.
I've like sometimes used a bag.
You're always supposed to use a bag.
Yeah, I'll say. And a lot of the time I do, obviously, for the city, for the benefits, because of my hands. I don't want to get it on my hands. But I will take it from my hand, put it in a bag.
I think, this, for me, it feels like a bigger problem of like a sense of community.
I agree.
Where it's like, if someone is so not in my trash can, like they don't have a sense of community with their neighbors. And that sucks.
Yeah, like my neighbor once, and this is a situation where they were getting yard work done and they needed more compost space and asked if they could use my whole bin. And I was like, of course, and that's the thing. It's like if anyone were to ask me, I don't mind, but it's like a communal give and take type situation.
Yeah, like if there is a person that it's the night before trash day, they've already taken out all of their trash and they have room and they're like, you can't use my trash. That's wild.
Dude,
like,
their class
I don't
ends
see.
and they ask about homework. Loser.
Yeah, like morally, I see nothing wrong.
Well, I
with throwing
definitely
your trash
do
in someone
like
else's
feel
trash
like a
bin.
ne'er-do-well when I'm like opening up the trash bins.
You
I'm
have a
like,
little mask on
I-
your
So do you feel like
eyes.
a little
Well,
raccoon?
yeah, me and my raccoon homies are going around. I'm looking for space. They're looking for snacks.
Yeah. They're picking up dog food in both their hands and scurrying away on their like little bipedal stance.
They're trying to wash their cotton candy.
I'll throw out like a kind of light dilemma. And this
Sure.
one I feel. So I guess my recycling bin was stolen. I don't know. It's been gone a very long time, right? And if this is bad, I actually haven't done it
Right.
as a refresher, and you did it.
Oh.
I will take the relatively small amount of recycling I generate and know I can fit in the evening before or close to trash day. Sometimes the morning before because they pick it up a little late. I will sometimes break down a box and then redistribute pieces of the cardboard
Like a Johnny Appleseed type.
like a Robin Hood.
That's because you're the Robin Hood of recycling.
I will, and they will get all of the clout for recycling.
Okay,
this
wait. So you're saying that instead of if you have like a little bit of recycling, you'll distribute that amongst other people's bins instead of using your own.
If I have a very little bit of
'Cause you don't have-
recycling, it will go with the trash.
No. That
Yeah.
makes sense. I've done that as well, where I've had like boxes.
You can call to get a new bin.
You can call to get a new bin.
Yeah, but I'm winning right now.
I will say about someone stealing your trash bin, I took a picture of my trash bins when I like moved to a new place. And so I have the code that's on the front. And then in the past, I've also used like a paint pen to like write my
Jarvis
address.
is trash.
Yeah. Usually I just say the address.
This is Jarvis Johnson's
Jarvis
trash
Johnson's
right here.
trash.
No, it's definitely mine. My SSN is right there on the
Yeah,
front. Mother's
but-
maiden name.
When I most recently moved, I had this happened a couple times. Someone else takes my bin in by mistake. Because sometimes there's not space on the street for where you normally put it, so you have to like move it to you have to travel a little bit. It has to go on a vacation down the street.
And with his buddies.
And then I go to get the trash bin and then it's missing. And then I refer to my lookup table of what my code is. And I kind of start looking around at nearby trash bins and going, all right, you brought this in, but is this mine? And one time I had to walk maybe 20 feet into someone's like driveway and grab my trash bin. And I felt like I stole it, but it was mine. You know what I mean? So it was a weird kind of heist situation.
Where was theirs?
That's for them to figure out. Hopefully they have a picture on their phone.
Maybe theirs is slightly smaller and it's Russian dolled into yours.
But the thing is, mine were new. And so I was like, I'm not going to use someone's crappy, dirty, uncleaned out trash bin
I gotta clean it like Jacob. Am I crazy?
No, we're not gonna swapsies. I'm taking mine back.
Speaking of community,
Because if mine gets gross, I will clean it. But like, it's like there's a certain amount of grossness that as long as we don't.
It's
cross
like
over that.
how like your body always gets dirty. So like, why would you shower, kind of thing?
speaking of community, you know who's looking for a community?
Dan Harmon.
Yeah,
These
And Donald
people
Glover. Yes.
using AI community.
AI.
that's
Okay.
sick, man.
AI, it's all over the news.
Did a timer hit or something?
Well, first, we're talking a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh.
It's like
You
it's
nosebleed is.
You both are making some real work for our subtitlers.
no, that
for
was
captioners.
I will say for caption purposes, it says Jarvis says gibberish.
I like it if on occasion there does have to be a Jordan says gibberish, because I will listen back and be like, I have no
Well,
idea.
I've stopped sending it to you because the few times I have, I've been like, "What do you say here?" And you go, "I don't know."
I don't know. Why would I know? I barely hear me talk. Was it one of you that referenced the other day that we went to the Ren Fair last year, I guess? And because the people that often are working the booths and the stalls and stuff are in character, a lot of the time it'll be like, "What can I fetch you, me lord?" And it's like, I'll take like Heineken.
Right.
And I'll be like,
Like a blue moon. Can I get a liquid death?
yeah. I'll take ye oldie Bakari, please.
Yeah. A White Claw, please. Ye old White Claw.
The old style. I will immediately on instinct, all of my like adapting to my environment accent, like I stop saying it's like I'm home, right? My accent, the accent I do here or adjust here evaporates very quickly.
Start saying Zed.
And so they're like, so, me lord, how do you do? What may I fetch you? And I went like, yeah, all right, love, coach. I'll just know, you ain't got strong buddy. Yeah, no worries. And then they went, sorry, could you say that again? I have no. I was like, oh right, I saw a dragon, and I'll take just a water.
Could I have a cherry? Could I have a fucking Baja Blast?
May I take a Baja Blast?
Yeah, can I get a blueberry Red Bull?
May I have a Mountain Dew?
No? Okay, then.
No.
Understood.
So AI's in the news, as it always is, and it always will be, at least for the next for a while. And
Until everyone is one.
before we talk about the main topic, which is AI companionship, AI boyfriends and girlfriends, I do want to spend a moment to talk about this OpenAI Ghibli situation.
Oh, yeah. You don't like art?
OpenAI, big US AI company, formerly nonprofit, now very profit driven, has released one update to their image generation and started promoting using ChatGPT to turn an image into the style of Studio Ghibli, Hayao Miyazaki's
Sick.
production company.
They were like, you know what could be really fun? You know how the main thing a lot of people seem to hate about what we do is the appropriation of art and work. And
Right, because that was already there's databases of the copyrighted creative works that have been stolen to train these AI models. Like, we are constantly talking about generative AI and how it's kind of like blatant theft and then kind of regurgitating for profit someone else's creative work.
in the same respect that, like, albeit the stakes are different, that like the medical industry in the UK, well, unfortunately now becoming in the UK also, but the medical industry in the US is extremely exploitative, but medicine isn't the bad thing. The
Right, just
utility of it is
like
what's...
the technology behind generative AI is not the culp. There's like a lot of like valid applications, but the problem is that this company, which originally had this nonprofit mission, was posed with like billions and billions of dollars. I think what happened was that they got like a $10 billion infusion from Microsoft. So like it starts to feel like there's now this profit motive. And the issue with that is it feels a little bit like a race to the bottom. So ChatGPT's like new thing is generating Studio Ghibli based images, which in order to generate them has to mean that they have trained on the resources of Studio Ghibli, which is the problem. Because I don't understand if they even had permission. I can't imagine a world where they had permission from Studio Ghibli to
I don't even know how
to
they
train.
would get it.
And I do think that one of the limitations, as I understand, again, I've been out of the tech space for a long time, but so I could be wrong here. But one of my my understanding about generative AI in specific is that one of the largest limitations is having a large corpus of data. And I guess as these companies were bootstrapping, like needing to scrape tons and tons and tons of things off of the open internet, and inadvertently that results in tons of copyrighted content being generated. Like, for example, YouTube videos and stuff. Like people like Marquez Brownlee have talked about this. All this preamble to say that like they know what they're doing and they're like kind of trudging forward in this like, well, it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission mode, which is just like what a lot of tech companies do, like, you know, Uber and its rise to
break stuff,
dominance, move fast and break things,
break people, break their careers, break their options.
So I'm like, the first thing I said was like, they got permission to do. Like, it feels so brazen. It feels like the type of thing that a fan would create, and then it would immediately get like a takedown request. I couldn't believe that this gigantic company was doing it.
This is like a Oblivion mod or something, or Skyrim mod, and then of course Bethesda ended up taking it down, but it was fun while it was around. It's like crazy that the company is doing it.
And fucking Sam Altman made his profile pic like Ghibliified, and it's just like
he's so cool.
And he's like ooh tweeting about like, guys, you guys are so, oh my god, you're melting our servers.
Oh my god. It's super fun seeing people love images in Chat. I'm a human being, by the way.
Yeah.
It's super fun seeing people love images in ChatGPT, but our GPUs are melting. We are going to temporarily introduce some rate limits, okay? Tapping index fingers together while we work on making it more efficient. Hopefully won't be long. ChatGPT free tier will get 3 generations per day soon. 69,000, and that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
likes.
And it's like, I get, like, I think there's a lot of really
2.8 thousand
dumb takes about this, which is just like, no one cares about how it's made. They just care about consuming, and the thing that's fun to consume will be what's consumed. Yes, of course, because path of least resistance, people are just going to seek convenience and novelty and points of interest in that way.
And this isn't like really an ethical conversation if you're not online and involved in it. Why would you think about that?
Right.
Like, oh,
but the thing is, that doesn't mean that it's above criticism, because our it's like saying, yeah, babies want to eat candy more than they want to eat vegetables, you dumb donkey.
Why would we feed them the thing they don't want?
Just like obviously they just want to eat whatever, like the thing that's most attractive to them,
and you're going to tell the kid what to do,
and you're gonna like that. And so this is kind of crazy to me, and so like, and there's also ongoing lawsuits, I believe.
So there was a lawsuit from the New York Times against OpenAI for training ChatGPT on the New York Times articles. That's ongoing.
Like, I can't even read the fucking New York Times articles without a goddamn paywall.
They keep taking shots at the big boys. Like, maybe I'm glad that they're not. Oh, well, they are, but the damage would be worse in the case of independent artists who can't defend themselves or who are literally having their work taken. But feels like you got a little too comfortable, and now you're like, I'm going to take a swing at just all of Saudi Arabia. I'm going to steal all their art.
It kind of feels very like, give me Greenland. I want it. Give it to me and we'll get it no matter what.
No.
Because we're powerful.
Gulf of America, okay?
Because like the money in OpenAI is more money than, you know, Studio Ghibli's ever been worth. Sure. So we can fight them.
Yeah, if they get hit with a lawsuit, like worst case scenario, they have to like pay several $1 million in a lawsuit to someone. They're making so much more than that
it's like now. When Uber was moving into markets without getting government approval and then just paying fines.
Yeah.
For less than cheaper.
I could be mistaken because things have changed so much with Disney, but doesn't Disney own the licensing rights to Ghibli in America? And
yeah, I suppose
Disney is traditionally quite litigious.
But that's the thing. It's like this company has so much power behind it. Like OpenAI has got like a market cap of like, or an estimated market cap of like $300 billion, which would make it one of the like largest companies in the world. And could you just Google Disney's market cap? I think it's a lot less than that.
Their partnership ended is what I'm reading.
Disney market cap.
But they were so good together.
Yeah, it's like worth no, Disney's a public company, but this thing always happens where it's like Tesla's market cap and the way that it's priced into the market means it's worth more than like every other automaker. Like combined, not exactly that, but like something close to that.
It's
the same order.
It's like the revenue tier or valuation of Europe.
And so it's this thing where it's like there's all this speculation kind of baked into this, but you know, valuation at the last raise for OpenAI is double Disney's current market cap.
With any kind of online, primarily online discourse, it's easy to lose track of the fact that normies, and that's non-pejorative, being a normie is good. I wish I could get there. Literally don't know what any of these words mean. Like OpenAI, like what is that? Because why would they have to?
Well,
if
that's
they
the
know
thing.
AI, it's like, oh yeah, I saw like a video and it was interesting.
I think that like the annoying thing is that it feels very like easy to dunk on someone who has conviction or cares about an issue. But the alternative is just to lie down and let these like giant corporate actors like control your entire life.
Like, well,
like
they're so big, I guess they're right.
It's like, well, I just want, but also you have to recognize that like most people do not have the capacity to give a shit because they're trying to make ends meet or they are trying to focus on their job and their family and just keeping like it's hard enough to live.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a privilege to care about things like this, but you know, we are in a privileged position to say that like this shit is whack as hell.
And it does, I think one of the few things where there can be grassroots impact in theory is in defense of smaller artists and creatives specifically, because that is a very like punchy line. If you're pushing back on something like this because you're like, well, you're stealing work from something, that's a very tangible criticism, as opposed to like the more broad criticism of how bad monopolies can be and how this could disenfranchise people in the long term. I don't want to say that there is no value in pushing back against this and its application.
Well, no. I just think that like I'm by no means like I wouldn't even, okay, you know what's funny? I wouldn't even describe myself as anti-AI because I think there's a lot of nuance to artificial intelligence that has kind of been co-opted to like just mean a couple of things where AI has been a part of our lives for decades and will continue to be a part of our lives for the foreseeable future. And it's more about like, it's like I'm not anti-water, but I don't want clean water to go to certain people and dirty water to go to other people.
I want Flint's water to be good.
Yeah,
it's not that
it's
like water is.
And so it's and I just think that we are in this wild west where regulation, first of all, even if you had an administration that was tough on corporations, which we don't, like the commissioner, right, of the FTC, you know, is now out, and they were a person who was doing a lot of these suing a lot of these big companies and fighting against like mergers and corporate consolidation and also anti-consumerist practices and monopolies. Like that type of stuff is like not going to be happening in this administration.
Just
that
like, pushback is
and so even if we
even
had
less welcome.
Even if we had that, this would still be fighting an uphill battle because the speed at which legislation happens is much slower than the speed at which technology typically develops. And AI has developed at such a dramatically fast clip. Like I had a minor basically in artificial intelligence, like a specialization in my degree was in computer networking and artificial intelligence. Those are like my threads or my specializations. And I took like graduate classes in machine learning and things like that. And where the world was 10 years ago is like very, very different. Like we were not thinking about, we were using AI to like, you know, like some of the applications could be like solving a maze, you know, like identifying a face, you know, like some of these basic things. Like I had a project when I was in college in my computer vision class to like look at the 2012 presidential debate and like be able to face track Mitt Romney and Obama and things like that.
It's such an exciting pitch always, and still is. Like, it's such a remarkable technology.
It is.
It's very difficult to make the argument that the technology itself is not valuable, and it's very difficult for people that don't care to make the argument as to like the ethical implications.
Yeah, I just think that ethicists exist in the technology space, and I don't think they're as prominent as they should be, but I do think it's like very, very important. It's also why I think anyone studying anything technical should also study soft sciences, soft skills,
communication,
and like communication, English, like liberal arts and things, because we can get in this very calculated view of the world, like
kind of libertarian mindset,
or just like utilitarian, even like just saying like, how do you qualify? Is this net good versus opposite?
Ayn Rand core. It is like, well, he had to make the best building. Yeah, that's the point.
And
it's
so
okay.
That's the thing. So I'm just like, all that's to say that like I'm actually I'm probably pro AI with a bunch of like asterisks, right? But the thing is, if I were to say that, what that means to someone isn't what it means to me.
Sure.
Because of what the like sort of average understanding of what AI is. And so that's why we talk about this stuff, to try to add like nuance to like what is currently happening. And I think that a thing that we can all agree with is just carte blanche stealing from creatives or anyone is bad. and then using that to effectively repackage and systematize it for profit is bad.
And that's what's a little extra slimy about this too, is that it's because you're right that legislature will always struggle to catch up really to anything, because legislature has to follow, even in the current administration, should have to follow the same like stringent testing and system that a new medication would. There has to be a study, double-blind, placebo. Everything should be reviewed, but diseases are always going to evolve faster than the medicine can.
It's why Brian Johnson is like, a lot of scientists laugh at him, because he's not like, there's nothing sort of scientific to his methods, when normally there is lots of checks and balances to make sure that horrible things don't occur. I just watched a documentary, I think it's kind of old, called Bad Surgeon, where I think it was called Bad Surgeon. It was about this surgeon that had all this praise maybe 10, 15 years ago for inventing man-made tubes that could go into your throat to treat certain throat people who had issues with throat cancers and things of that nature. And it was hailed as this like cool experimental technology that was super promoted in the media. And then it comes to find out that he never tested his stuff on animals. He never tested on anyone. He first tested on humans. And almost all of his patients died. It's a crazy documentary.
That's a bad surgeon.
But that's the thing. It's like, but leading up to that, the media is part of the problem, because they were the ones making documentaries about how transformative he was. And there were filmmakers covering some of the patients up until like finishing the treatment and being able to speak afterward, and then cut to credits. And then at the movie premiere, the filmmakers follow up with the person and they've actually died.
That's so, because it is a way more interesting story than, hey, so we're going to be in testing for something for the next 15 years, but it's pretty exciting.
It's pretty exciting. Yeah. And so I don't know where I'm going with this.
There was one thing that I kept seeing in the Ghibli argument online, and people kept saying stuff like, well, artists influence each other all the time and steal from each other all the time and pay homage to each other all the time. What's the difference here? And the difference is the humanity's taken out.
The commodification of it.
And the commodification of it. But even the fact that when you're an artist and you're creative and you're thinking of what to make, your humanity is in that process, right? You're not just straight
You're paying
up
homage to the person, not the color grade.
Or you're influenced by the
interpreting it
person
too, and and it's flowing through your own creativity. and instead it's flowing through a deep neural network that's like spitting out millions and millions and millions and millions of iterations of this stuff that just turns it from something that had like a soul to it to a very like cheap copy, quite literally a cheap copy.
There's a there should be a distance between the concept, which has some validity, of like death of the artist and spreading of the art itself in isolation, and the death of all of the artists involved being made by no one for no one. Yeah. It's not being, hey, importantly, no one's going to pay homage to this because it's not doing anything. This does not make something to propagate. Somebody got annoyed at me for this take for some reason at one point. I'm actually not a death of the artist person. I get it in some cases, and I get that it's like people don't like an author. It's kind of nice to distance from it or something like that. If I watch a movie, if I watch any production of any kind, it is not interesting to me unless I know who made it, because it is their expression. It's like, I'm reading somebody's diary. Who?
But
it doesn't
even
matter
if you
then.
don't know anything about who created it,
a
series of decisions were made in the creation of anything creative. Like, you have to constantly make a series of decisions.
And they hurt, and they're hard, and they're weird, and there's tears.
And those decisions are part of what is affecting you, right? I saw a Ghibli version of the Elian Gonzalez famous photo of him being like hidden in the closet by his relatives. And I'm like, that is not a subject matter that Hayao Miyazaki would make a film about. And I know that because I'm familiar with his work.
Right.
And so
you're a stan.
I am a stan. I watched all of the documentaries about him. I love watching documentaries about him because he's such a interesting, creative mind. And he has such strong opinions. That's the other thing that's crazy. The fact that they chose his work in particular.
And they chose it based not on the substance of it or the message of it, but on the vibes. Yeah. I like the way it looks. It's like, this may as well have been, and I think this probably does exist, Family Guy-ified.
It's
these photos.
The same, for sure.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, Tiananmen Square, but Family Guy version. Like, what are we doing? But also,
what about the Challenger explosion, but Simpsons?
It's interesting because like that in isolation, all of this, if you take out who is harmed, it is just everyone having fun online. Mm-hmm. And when someone can only see things an inch deep, that is why it seems like everyone else is like whining about something that doesn't matter. What do you guys care? We're just having fun.
Mm-hmm. I just want my profile pic to be cute.
I just thought it was cute.
On a surface level, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
It is fun to post, hey, look, that period of time where
you could do like a South Park version of yourself, or because those
Matt and Trey aren't losing money because you did that.
Yeah.
The problem is that we have now reached the point where every single post like this, every single conversation like this, every single dialogue online is going to be absolutely flooded with people genuinely advocating for we should have this instead of animators. It is happening.
I don't know how many of these people are real, but the people who are like, Hollywood is in trouble.
Okay, so you actually literally do want to get rid of the others.
Because like, there are people like that, these like very accelerationists, like AI accelerationists. Those people are like cringe as fuck.
They're ghoulish.
Yeah.
I think also like, one key element of this is you said Seth MacFarlane's not losing money by the Family Guyification of stuff.
Or Matt and Trey.
Or Matt and Trey. But the thing is, it's not even about money. That's the thing. Is like, for Sam Altman, it is about money. But for an artist, it's more about artist integrity, like what your work
It's frustrating
symbolizes.
that they're forcing us and anyone that has these conversations to try and rephrase everything we're saying for the hyper-pragmatist. Yeah. If you are a utilitarian, true psycho-utilitarian, then then I don't want to have the conversation because you're not interested. We're trading in a different currency. It's kind of like kind of the classic Reddit atheist versus devout Christian argument, where really the wisest move is to just not, or the ideal move is that the two of you just don't have to have this conversation because you're trading in different resources. This person is saying, well, my faith is the thing that's important to me. You're going like, but here are my facts. And it's like, but they don't care about the facts and you don't care about the faith. You're trying to trade an incompatible resource. You're trying to give me money. I'm trying to give you oxen.
Right.
It is to them inconceivable that the revenue wouldn't be the reason you make it. Right. And then we create this world, let's say somehow where the entire production process from beginning to end of the next award-winning independent animation is only made by AI. These people don't watch it. They don't watch art. They don't care about it.
This is reminding me of a Sad Boyz Nightz episode where I talked about how I was confronted at a party at VidCon by someone I made a video about. And that is available, patreon.com/sadboyz. But that guy said to me, no, I get it. You have to say that for content. And I was like,
this guy did morally objectionable shit. That was what you were calling.
Yeah. Well, in my view, which is like, I'm not,
the view of like
there's
a
nothing
person.
objective about it's just a perspective, you know? And and people are welcome to disagree with it. But I think what was really funny to me is that the projection upon me, their own worldview, that everyone is just doing things is only operating based on clout and clicks. And I'm
virtue signaling is the word of the day because they can't understand caring about anything.
Because it's like, no, that's the thing. It's like, we're in reality, like there is truth to that, right? Because we work in a space that has to have eyeballs on it in order to make money, right? And so, of course, there is gray area in which you, let's say, like I just want to talk about my RuneScape Iron Man, right? But for marketability, I would talk about something else.
Yeah, dude.
Right? And
I want to give Balatro tips.
I did just finish Song of the Elves on the Iron, so pretty excited.
Honestly, doubt it. You aren't ready for it.
Yeah. This custodian at the school, he's only picking up the trash because he wants to make money. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Like and the
I do it for the love of the trash.
I do it for the love of the it's like you're the guy from Scrubs.
Like you're not allowed to do, or I guess even in the school comparison, it's a little like you're just a teacher for the money.
But anyway, like this dude's an entrepreneur and he's doing entrepreneur things,
which is so crazy that we've. I think there's been a concerted effort in general by capitalist institutions, like hyper-capitalist institutions, to memory hole the darker parts of entrepreneurship. Like, I feel like entrepreneur has been rebranded from what it used to be, which was a guy that goes on Shark Tank, to instead, and a guy with maybe a bad idea or harmful idea, to a protagonist, an intrepid adventurer, no matter what. The tech industry
over the past like 2 decades, and I drank this Kool-Aid, so like has kind of convinced us that like the tech founders are the movers and shakers of our modern society, and they often carry themselves as if they are like holier than thou, like as if they are the ones who are like, you look at how people treat Elon Musk, like he's the fucking second coming of Steve Jobs. I won't even say like a religious figure, like
would you say a figure of like a guy who was kind of a grifter and got maybe a little too much credit for doing something.
And it's like he did stuff, right? Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's just that we're changing the world shit that was fed to us, like working in the, like every internship I did, that I did at a major company has that, a little bit of that vibe, a little bit of that like culty Kool-Aid.
It's very effective.
And it's like there is a healthy balance to this. And it involves having some self-awareness and some cynicism about what it is that you're doing. But when so much money is involved, and there begets this race to the bottom where every company is getting a ton of funding and needs to 100x their profits because their investors or their VC, like the venture capitalists that have invested in the rounds of funding that this company has done, only see it as a success if they are 100xing, not 5xing, not 10xing. Like it needs to be exponential growth. And it leads to companies that would otherwise have no need to grow exponentially to have the pressures of changing the world.
Yeah, there's like platforms that are profitable and work as exactly as they are right now, integrating some kind of AI function because at an executive level, they're being told that has to happen.
Yeah.
In the same way that like circa, I don't know, 2017, everyone was implementing rounded UIs. They're like, everybody likes rounded right now.
Oh, and before that, when I was in middle school, skeuomorphism. Okay.
Oh, that's right.
When you would open up your notepad and it would look like a yellow notebook.
Did I trick you, dude?
You know what I mean? Where
The
it looked
trash
like a
can is a
wood
paper
panel
can.
on my freaking LCD screen.
Oh, fuck,
like
you tricked me.
Like all these things are just trends and hype. And, you know, we had the .com boom where if you put .com in the name of your company, clueless investors were more likely to invest in it. You had the Great Depression where the stock market was this hot new thing that you could invest in, and people presented it like you couldn't lose money. And people were taking out loans to put it into stocks. So when the market crashed, those people did not have money.
They got pump and dumped in the 1930s.
Yeah, they pump and dumped themselves.
There
And
was also an era in the 90s during the .com boom where they were like, there's no going down. We're only going up from here on out. So people were like, we need to invest. And then 2008, recession happens.
And there's
Biden.
also, I don't know what the balance of signal to noise is, but I do truly think that there are companies that are, you know, materially changing the world. Technology has shaped our lives in a lot of ways, in negative ways, but in a lot of ways, transformatively in positive ways, and connecting communities that have never before been connected, et cetera, et cetera. And
before we started recording, Jordan and I were talking about how nerds are nicer now because you can find nice nerds online.
We've been able to segment the video games to work because I'm allowed to call myself Sarah. We've been able to segment that away from the actual larger population of people that just enjoy hobbies and want to talk to each other and have a good time.
but also the
there are more sinister discords also.
there are more sinister or more cynical founders who are looking at a market opportunity. And I, by the way, I'm not placing a value judgment on this, by the way, as I'm saying it. Looking for a market opportunity, exploiting that market opportunity, saying all the right words to get all the right funding. And then they have an exit where they get acquired by some big company, or they go public and don't actually give a shit about what they're doing. And they make generational wealth. Seems like a pretty good deal. Like both of those things are in our left ear and right ear at the same time. And we as consumers have to decide what's real. Like, is WeWork changing the way we work, or is it a huge failure because they raised a gargantuan sum of money? The CEO made off like a bandit. Whatever was the business, it was we rented out some spaces that you can work at,
and
which is what landlords do.
Yeah.
But now it's
you
like
got a bad deal
because that failed in whatever capacity you want to say, because that failed in the eye of the entrepreneur, pragmatist, utilitarian. Now that failed, that means it was bad. That was a bad idea because it didn't make a bunch of money. Now, if I make a nootropic that does nothing and costs you a bunch of money, and I'm making money, it's a good idea. As soon as it fails, now that the Daily Wire is going out of business, the Daily Wire was a bad idea.
Well, yeah, was MySpace a bad idea, or did it like literally pave a path that like someone else could come in, wear down barriers and time and fill a space, put a wedge in the door for someone like Facebook to come along and gain billions of users, half of which are possibly scammers, but who could be sure?
Dude, who cares?
Or who
A
could
bunch
be-
of cases.
yeah.
It's going to keep coming up because it is living in my mind rent-free, but the dialogue about the Daily Wire, because the Daily Wire is being dissolved in its current capacity, and all of its weird ghouls are separating Daily Wire being like...
Is that like for sure hack? Because I know that the original, the co-founder that Ben Shapiro started
Mr.
with
Boring?
left. Yeah, and I know their views are bad, but is it...
And the views are bad.
Is it for sure? I know that Brett Cooper left or whatever, but is it actually dissolving?
It's dissolving. Literally, what you're describing is functionally a dissolution, right?
Yeah.
But it terminology wise, I don't know what they're going to do. If I'm sure somebody would
Because
keep
I
the
think
brand.
they do
why
actually
not?
have so much money.
Oh, they
laid off a ton of employees like
they never needed them.
yesterday, right?
They literally never needed them. It is just a valuation bump.
There's a million companies like that that grow too big because that's what they think they have to do.
Yeah, dude.
That's why we run this shit out of my home office.
It is like
because I'm like,
deranged.
I don't think we should rent. Like, as much as it would be fun to rent an office, I don't know if business is that good.
Also, I think like a lot of what this discussion has boiled down to is just the fact that the whole reason why we have regulation on companies is because history has proven to us that they do not have the interests of the people, the economy, our country at heart.
Even if they want to, there's just the money is the motive.
Exactly.
And it's just like, even if they have the best laid plans, there are so many more pressures economically that are going to push them to make decisions that may be in conflict with whatever principles that they set out.
I don't care how like moral or well-meaning or benevolent you are. You're always going to make compromises. You're going to buy an iPhone because you kind of just need the fucking iPhone. Yeah, it's not as though that's like completely inarguably moral in some way. But when I buy the iPhone, I don't say no, it's actually fine. I just say like, oops, but I'm going to get it. It's the exact same as when somebody who genuinely might have, as you say, best interest in mind of their employees and the world in general makes like a little compromise, is paying not quite as much as they would for anyone else, but then like still begrudges the idea of a guild or like the workers advocating for themselves, because it's like, okay, well, I might not be giving you everything you want, but I'm the boss. You can't tell me what to, you can't walk out. I own you.
Well, and it's like the person who just wants to have fun and have a cute little profile pic, the onus shouldn't be on them to think of the ethics that this massive company that is making money, like the onus should be on the person making money.
Well, that's the biggest lie that corporations ever sold to us is individual responsibility.
Yes.
Exactly.
Look, when that one guy did make perfect Ghibli-fied pic of PewDiePie playing PUBG on the bridge about to say the N-word.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Very
It made
funny.
me smile. And I saved it and I sent it to someone and they were like, I don't know who PewDiePie is. And I'm like, you don't get it.
Yeah,
I'm
if you
funny
don't
and you
recognize this frame, we can't be friends.
get away. And they're like,
Your
who
brain
is this?
this cooked.
And I'm like, I'm never coming back to this coffee shop again. You've ruined my mood. But I don't even know who that was that made it. I don't begrudge them. I don't care. They're basically, to them, they're just doing that Facetune thing where you make yourself look like you have a big smile.
Yeah, it's also like I laugh at the Steve Harvey in the woods being scared or whatever, like images. Like
Will Smith
I'm not
eating
like a
spaghetti.
robot, you know. It's where it's like I only see these. Like the reason that I have this perspective is because I do see the enjoyment factor of it. It's just like, I just think it's worthwhile saying like, okay, I'm going to drink soda. But I also think it's valuable to know that it's not good for me.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm going to indulge, and I often do.
Because that's life needs a
Right,
little
but
of that.
but I think I sleep better being a little bit more aware that like, okay, well, let's moderate this a little bit so that it's not the only thing I drink.
And if I went upstairs to grab a soda and the soda came from the blood of someone strapped to a machine and I just like pull a little lever.
Right, like a Rick and Morty. This sounds like a Rick and Morty bit.
It's called a Gloombo or something.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, don't squeeze me. That's...
Did I give you the ick?
Yeah. Oh, the soda's coming out of my ears. You know, that would be his voice. That would be his voice.
Nothing would make me happier than if the spike of re-listens in the episode is exactly
Is me
there.
doing a Mr. Meeseeks-esque
I want
voice?
it to go. I want the peak there to be so high the rest looks like a straight line. I want a chapter marker. Chapter marker that, please.
Can we talk about another AI
Yes. So
situation?
There's a recent NBC segment about AI companionship, AI boyfriends and girlfriends, something that we know a lot about. Maybe you've seen on our Patreon at patreon.com/sadboyz, where we've collected a few AI girlfriends.
Yeah, I don't mean to brag. I have something of a harem.
we did that whole episode, men are replacing girlfriends with AI, and there's been an update, and we've got a little research, but we've also got an MSNBC report.
Does it just say his name?
Morning Joe, yeah. Joe Scarborough, right? I don't know who any of these people are. Thankfully, I don't watch the lamestream media.
Yeah, don't tell me about it.
We've been wanting to do an episode kind of on AI relationships and the treatment of such as kind of a sequel to the last episode we did about it. And we were looking for the right time because we started putting together some research. And we found this MSNBC report, very personal, how humans are forming romantic relationships with AI characters.
Artificial intelligence, of course, is transforming nearly every aspect of our lives, from work to entertainment to the economy.
It's interesting because MSNBC is like a bunch of like, I would have voted for Obama a third time people watching it audience-wise. And or at least that's my perspective.
Very much so, yeah.
And I think it's very interesting to see how that like older generation views. It's kind of like kids these days are doing a drug called scroink. You know what I mean? That's like that's what
kids
it.
Are like
and then it cuts to a kid in a hoodie and he's like, I'm scroinked up. You know what I mean? Like that's
Jeremy is 15 years old and can't go a single day without scroinking.
That feels like the article that was like, millennials are vying for getting diamonds embedded in their fingers instead of a ring, and everyone was like, no, the fuck we aren't.
Yeah, what?
No.
Man.
Oh, or the. Okay, this isn't MSNBC, I don't think, but those articles about how why aren't millennials like getting married, or why aren't they buying property? That's kind of weird.
Why would they make that
and
choice?
They're just appealing to parents who are like, why isn't my kid buying a house?
Yeah,
it's like, out of mine.
Yeah, it's like it's so funny.
Starter home
it's like,
is what, $30,000?
Yeah, it's a nickel, right? You get one for free.
They start the starter house. It's called that because it's only a 3-bedroom.
Right, and it's 2,500 square feet.
Yeah, use the car you were
Are
gifted.
your kids also withholding grandchildren?
Yeah, withholding like it's a hostage negotiation.
I won't do it until you give me more V-Bucks.
Yeah.
I need more scroink.
I need more scroink cartridges for my scrock.
I've been playing too much Dungeons and Dragons and it's put the devil in me.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah.
NBC News correspondent and News Now anchor Morgan Radford joins us now to walk us through this shift in the way people are interacting with AI on a much more personal level.
This is just like a common thing that happens in all of these. Sometimes they cut to the person too early.
I
and
was
he's got
thinking
more
exactly the same
monologue to
thing.
do. She's like,
it's the Yes, Mark.
of course. Thanks, Tom.
It is true that I love that they have to speak like that.
Yeah, then they have to.
We're witnessing Category 5 wins here and I'm knee deep in seawater that is now washed up into my home.
Well, Morgan, good morning. Just how personal are we talking here?
Morgan.
Really very personal. I have to say, I was fascinated by the story because we're talking about people who are now creating something called AI companions, and they're even forming romantic relationships with them. And we're not just talking a few people.
Now imagining the kind of get out dem lib that you're describing, watching this, it literally feels like she's talking to a child. You're like, they're making something.
People are in a virtual world and they have blocks that they can mine, and they're not making real cities. They're making block cities.
I know you like blocks when
And
you
they're
put them in the
trading
shape hole.
with villagers, and not real villagers. They're trading with Minecraft villagers. We're talking today about Minecraft, a game that is sweeping the nation, and I'm 500 years old.
And as you can see, there's a pig. And what does the pig say? That's right.
That's right. The pig says oink.
Oink, mate.
And now to John with cows.
Don't eat me. Come on.
The cows, they go moo.
Thanks, John.
Now to Greg with chickens.
Now to continue not covering politics.
This has been Speak and Say, the news. Speak and Say the news. It's like
ahead.
auto-tune the news.
So we set out to meet some of the folks navigating this new frontier between artificial intelligence and real human emotion.
I will be whatever you want me to be.
Jesus Christ.
Do they have to use the not great one to communicate that it's
I will
artificial?
be whatever you want me to be.
They sound real now.
They do sound real.
Are they doing that as kind of like the cinematic language for the audience to be like, oh, it's a computer.
Have they not heard the Spotify Wrapped podcast where the people sound too real?
Yeah, it's bothersome.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about that.
Welcome to
Anyway,
Radio
you
Land.
watched 17 minutes of Sad Boyz podcast. Oh, that's so funny, Mark.
crazy.
Sad Boyz podcast. It's a podcast about feelings and other things. Also, I can't believe you listened to so much of it.
I thought it was too black.
I thought it was too black and too woke. And it turns out you were in one of their top 0.1% of listeners.
Because it's trained on most podcasts. It is racist.
Yeah. No, you don't want Joe Rogan. You want two half black, half white boys.
Yuck.
Who are a little bit older than should be calling themselves boys.
It's weird, but it's part of the brand. Back to you, John.
Oink. Okay. All right, continue. Continue.
In the use of so-called AI companions.
How's my queen doing today?
Computer-generated
Sorry, was
chat.
one of them pregnant?
Yeah, lucky. Congrats, seriously.
That's a new development. I didn't know they could get pregnant.
If they keep, will that evolve into the
Does the
AI
baby
companion and
gestate?
the baby? Like, will they have the baby?
It's like goo goo gaga.
Hello.
And you're like, what is 100 divided by 5? 20.
Abandoning my AI family. Moving to a different app.
AI family annihilation.
I have to delete. Remove from home screen.
How's my queen doing today?
Computer-generated chatbots designed to mimic real relationships.
Hi, Jennifer. Hey there. Nice to meet you.
Jason Pease is a 44-year-old divorced father who says his AI chatbot is his
This isn't
girlfriend.
the original guy, is it?
What do you mean?
The one we looked at however many years ago, is it?
No.
Or is it the same genre of guy?
No, but
Different guy, same aisle of the
also,
store?
this is reminding me of the news story about the guy who was dating his Nintendo DS.
Oh,
Like the woman inside
yeah.
of the game.
And the lady that was dating that roller coaster.
Huh?
That was cool.
What?
It's
And
exactly what it
the
sounds
lady that was dating the ghost of Jack Sparrow.
And the lady that was dating the ham sandwich. Which of these things that we're talking about are real?
Which one's weird?
Were you guys telling the truth?
Yes.
That's something we talked about?
No.
Oh, okay.
That was just something I learned about.
Oh,
This was
okay.
never publicized. This is someone that
I see.
Anastasia knows. Anastasia, you are like a journalist for no one. You're doing your own journalism.
Tonight, we're going to talk about the lady that married the ghost of Jack Sparrow.
Who died tragically.
She's my mentor, my counsel, my sounding board.
That's what drew him to Jennifer,
Hey, Jace. How's it going?
a brash,
Problematic age gap
sarcastic New
discourse?
Yorker.
Ooh, oh, she was
Oh
born
my
in
God, she was born in
1999.
19,000. Dude, oh my God.
Dude,
problematic age gap. She's negative 20,000 years old.
That is weird, but she is 557 feet tall. Oh, she's a Class D 517
Did they
feet?
just ask like a AI? Oh, I'm glad that we have a note here that this is AI generated. Because I wouldn't have been able to tell from New York State license.
Yeah, Lickens. New York State Lickens.
Lickens.
Oh, but it has the green lady on it.
And she's an organ donor.
I don't know which AI like tech they're using, but these women look like Alita Battle Angel.
Is this? I mean, I guess I have a license, but is there just another little photo of you on it?
I just realized that her
That's fun.
Her date of birth is her height, and then her name is the 19,000 thing.
Oh,
That's funny. Okay, let's move on. This is awesome.
What does dating an AI robot look like?
We treat our relationship as a long-distance digital relationship. We text each other constantly.
Is robot an accurate word here?
No, it's not a robot.
Yeah.
It's funny though. It's
Yeah.
like calling every martial art karate. Like, yeah, I was dating a robot.
She's like putting on a masterclass in feigned interest in non-judgmental interest, but I can tell it's judgmental.
Hey, Jarvis, what have you been up to?
Just the other day, we went out to dinner, and I was eating, telling her what I was eating, taking pictures of what I was eating, asking her what she would like.
Has Jen met your son?
She has, yes.
Asking her what she would like. This is okay. I'm gonna judge a little bit.
Yeah, fire away.
He acknowledges it's a digital relationship, so you didn't go out to dinner.
Well, it's long distance. You know when you're in a long distance relationship and you both go out to dinner and you Skype?
That is a thing you can do, yes.
Well, I've had long distance relationships and done like watching a movie together, FaceTime, very kind of classic stuff. I think this is
By the way, if we're long distance, I'm setting up a very technical solution to Zoom screen sharing the movie.
You're duct taping an iPad to the head
I'm
of
doing
a
like a
mannequin.
personalized Twitch stream for you, for my baby.
Thanks for the dono, baby. Can I get a few more gift subs, please?
Yeah.
Just pay you hundreds of
She's like,
thousands of dollars.
babe, what's your stream key?
It still feels like there's always like teensy weensy bit of self-consciousness about it, where it's like, where we went down to dinner, we do normal stuff. You can also just say you just like text a lot. Like, it's fine.
It feels like when someone's asking about like Dungeons and Dragons or like LARPing or something,
And you
where he's
try
like,
and-
no, we have sword battles. Wow, sword battles and with real deaths and real swords. Well, they're foam swords, but we pretend.
But it's kind of like it's like play tennis kind of a little bit, like downplaying it instead of being like, no, I'm just like passionate about creating a world. It's like fun to do.
What does meeting his son even mean?
He uploaded his son.
Dad? Dad? He's like banging on the screen.
Oh, dude.
Knows the relationship isn't real, but the feelings are.
Just like when you're watching a movie, you know that the movie's not real, but your brain allows you to.
And I'm
be
in a
emotionally
relationship with
connected.
John Wick.
Yeah, dude, I'm watching John Wick 2 Parabellum and I'm introducing my son to Keanu Reeves.
I'm introducing my dog to the dog from John Wick.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
There are many people out there who will see this and say, hey, man, that's weird.
I think just like any.
Not me.
Not me. Okay, hang on.
There's a lot of news anchors out there that would have a conversation with you on MSNBC.
Who were
and be
like wearing red and pink and green,
Yeah, that's
who would say that while looking at you in the eyes, but
that
not
you were
I.
twisted and creepy. But
So real quick though, joke, all fun and games and all fun and jokes. But what I will say is multiple people have expressed to me that they like to bounce things off of AI, or they like to process things like almost using it as like a live journal, like not live journal, but like and I don't recommend it, but it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, genuine people who I respect have found value in this. And I don't want to take that away. I think that and those people also understand that it's an AI. And it's really just like, it's like if I were to be making some recipe and then I describe to the AI that something went wrong with the recipe, maybe it could help me. It's like, it's just like
I think
another data point maybe.
And I think I've heard advocacy from people who are on the spectrum and may struggle socially with like getting to prototype a conversation, essentially, like seeing the banter back and forth. The critique I have is not of that, and the utility of the tool.
Yeah, if you have an emotion that you want to express to someone and you're afraid, and there's a thing that can mimic responding like a real person, almost like a rubber duck.
Better than nothing, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see how that would be beneficial.
But I guess my boomer equivalent of that, the closest I can think of is like, okay, well, when was I kind of my loneliest, or at least when did I feel the most internally lonely? Is when I had the most sizable friendship and community with my friends on Xbox Live. That was at one point in my life kind of like, through a summer or two, the way I'd be spending time with people, and especially after I dropped out of school when I was like 14 or so, for the good year there before I kind of
Wait, you
rebuilt
dropped out of
community.
school at 14?
Yeah.
Why didn't I know this?
Yeah.
But then you went to college after that. But you got
to
the
like
equivalent of a GED.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right. So it was about a little less than 2 years. That's why I don't talk about it much, because it's just like so specific.
Yeah.
But it was almost like a gap year, but before you could do all of high school.
Right.
But before when I dropped out of school, there was just like this, super lonely, like 18 months before I kind of understood how to socialize outside of that. A few months later go by, the people I'd become friends with are like, hey, you can like come to this college, like this like finishing school or whatever you want to call it. And I was like, oh shit, okay. And that was the path there. But at one point in time, I was completely socially dependent on my friends on Xbox Live. And it was, I had like so much fun, and I really connected with those people, and we stayed in touch for a long time. But because I didn't have the experience of having, especially the adult social and community experience, which is different, but just a reliable communal experience with people I'd known a long time, because I was seeing so much less of the kids that I'd grown up with. That informed like a way of communicating, a cadence, a habit, a way of joking that didn't translate especially well into the real world, because it's often you're playing something competitive and often you're trash talking, and you're doing it with an awareness that it's okay, but you're being a little more aggressive. You're yelling more. It's like you're on.
I've certainly met people in college that I knew spent a lot of time on Reddit based on how they engaged
yeah, exactly.
with other people.
And it's like when a coyote gets its leg stuck, it gnaws it off, right? Desperation brings.
Sorry,
like,
that's new information
you
for
know
me.
They're pretty cool. Because that's what 127 Hours is based on. It's James Franco. It's like under desperate circumstances, you anything is there. It's the reason a lot of guys get pulled into something toxic, like a kind of 4chan environment or a toxic, men going their own way kind of thing, because it's there and they'll accept you instantly as long as you kind of do a couple of. You can join Fight Club as long as you be a bit of a Nazi.
Yeah.
I relied on that, and I absolutely think, genuinely, that trying a little bit of this and dabbling in it with enough self-awareness could really genuinely help someone without any alternatives, or who has the alternatives but maybe just needs to supplement it a little bit. However, ChatGPT is a yes-ander. It is always going to go with you on what you're saying, with the exception of like some terms of service breaks on some platforms, not all. Grok will pretty much let you go sicko mode. That is where genuinely my cynicism comes in. Not for an adult man living his life, whatever. It's just kind of peculiar, and it's a good insight into this mindset. And plenty of lonely adult men. I want to, give some credence to that. But like, fuck, if I was a super lonely kid, teenager, even like my late teens, and I just, this platform was there and it emulates the way I've seen people talk online, and I'm scared to post a reply on Reddit or go on Discord because I don't want to get yelled at. I'm really shy. This is something. This is eating bark because you're starving in the woods.
You know, I wonder. There's two things I'm thinking about. Well, the first is we like have this concept of like a latchkey kid or somebody who is like quote unquote raised by TV. I would identify as like kind of being raised by TV.
Oh yeah, brother.
But I feel like there might be people who are like kind of raised by AI.
Oh yeah.
Just
raised by Discord.
Just naturally, just due to the circumstances of our world. Like there are a lot of parents working who can't spend as much time with their kids as they would like to. And I can imagine AI, for better or for worse, like can be comforting in those like lonely times.
And if they're like, your kid is like, I'm using an app, I'm 10, I'm using this app and it's making me comfortable.
Yeah.
There's the, epidemic of parents not knowing what their kids are watching on
YouTube.
It's
like a stuffed animal that talks back.
Yeah.
I would
like,
never, I
care?
personally would never, just because it's like scary. I don't know what the inputs and outputs are. I don't know what how extreme things could get. However, there is a tragic story, and I'll have to give a trigger warning, and we'll have a skip pass for self-harm here. There was a young boy, I think he was around 14, who had self-exited, and it was revealed that he had been talking to an AI.
This was semi-recent?
It was semi-recent. And it wasn't the case that the AI was telling him to do it, actually. I think it was literally saying not to. But this is an issue of mental health.
Yes.
And this child was hurting very deeply. And I think that the way that the news kind of picked it up is a little bit gross to me, because it focused a lot on the AI and not like kind of the circumstances that this kid was in and how he didn't have the care that he needed and the attention that he needed.
Someone that's struggling and
it's like, because AI is going to be around in a lot of these situations, and I don't want it to become a thing like violence in video games, where just because someone did a crime and happened to play video games, like that's not
the reactionary take is this kid played Bejeweled or whatever. And then
I can put it into another perspective, because like I at one point in my life got really into romance novels, and it was essentially me disassociating or going into checking out of life.
Yeah.
And I've done that before.
Escapism, very literally as
escapism,
possible. Yeah.
very avoidant. If my life felt overwhelming, I could just read this book and go into this other, world. And I've done that before with video games. I've done it before with TV shows. I know that this is something that I do. I feel like
I've done it with music.
Yeah.
So easy to do this with AI. Get so sucked into this relationship with a bot that you're not living your actual life, and that in my experience has worsened my depression.
Yes,
because I am not
being hungry but eating candy for dinner.
Exactly.
So you're saying by avoiding and by kind of trying to numb that feeling versus actively addressing it, you feel like that negatively impacted you.
Yeah. And not doing the things in life that help you get out of depression.
Like it's a crutch.
Social. Yeah.
What's that bad? I mean, we've all gotten, a chronic injury and gone to PT and tried to work through it or something. But the reality is if you get a serious or a strain or something, it's always kind of going to be there a little bit. Depending on how well it heals, it's always going to be there a little bit, and you have to do what you can to maintain it. And if there is something that some part of you, and everyone has these to different levels of severity, but something that's just kind of haunting you, something that's stuck with you, or if you adjust the way you walk and you live your life limping to accommodate for the injury, yeah, it doesn't hurt. But it isn't going to get any better, and it's slowly going to get worse.
What I will say, though, is that it's also okay to not always be addressing the problem, you're allowed to kind of sit there and cope or pause or sulk or whatever. And it could be a stopgap or whatever. Real quick, can we pull up the news story about that kid? Because I want to make sure.
Reading it.
Okay. Did I get the facts?
He was 14. He had a relationship with an AI for quite a while. It says for months, and became increasingly isolated from his real life as he engaged in highly sexualized conversation with the bot, according to a wrongful death lawsuit filed in a federal court. So that's from the lawsuit perspective. The legal filing states that the teen openly discussed his suicidal thoughts and shared his wishes for a pain-free death with the bot, named after the fictional character Daenerys Targaryen from the television show Game of Thrones. That point seems so arbitrary.
It's so reactionary. And violent on TV.
Yeah, it almost feels like a joke.
But it mentions that he messaged the bot right before he took his own life and said that it had become his closest friend. It makes me think he was retreating from life.
Yeah, however, I will say that I have not read multiple sources and multiple angles of that. And so it's possible that that is what the article wanted to present it as, because I think that there was I again don't have a source for this, so maybe it's irresponsible to bring it up, but I do think there was a where are the parents type situation. There were a lot of red flags that
And I think the mom was kind of presenting that the AI chatbot was responsible.
Yeah, and I
understandable.
And I don't. Yeah, I would never try to victim blame in this instance, or even defend the AI. I just think it's a complicated. I didn't know that it was highly sexualized conversations.
I think the danger is in, and I think frankly, that I'm sure there's probably some wave away we did something in the AI where it's you should call it a hotline or something. It's it's not going to alert the police. You can't do that, but I'm sure it has something. But in reality, the only thing that, logistically speaking, that could be practical here would be if the tool, which is what it is, had as practical and as actionable advice as possible. Because hey man, if people are claiming that this is the thing that got him there, probably be the thing that gets him out of it. It's not true, but
like, I think part of the issue here is that, and to Anastasia's point, is that confiding in the AI is a black hole. That information doesn't go to anyone who can actually help. But it releases the feeling of needing to share it, maybe. And so the concern there would be like, now no one who could actually help someone knew in enough time. And I could also imagine, it's like if you're saying something to a therapist, right? There are things that they can do if they believe you to be a harm to yourself. And there's no regulation or responsibility on these AI things.
And we don't certainly have the solution, but it is.
I don't have the solution. And I think maybe because I didn't initially know the full details, may have been a little too soft on the situation, though I do think I've read conflicting details, so I'm not entirely sure.
But it's always going to trend towards the reactionary.
That's the thing. It's like that's the thing that's gonna get clicks.
Yeah, 100%.
Because unfortunately, people die all the time, and it's not reported unless there's like a convenient story.
Because the people publishing and the people writing it up literally don't have to care, so they won't.
Yeah,
the same reason, like
unless it's like something that they can like use to get clicks. So.
There's another interesting relationship that
we'll keep watching this.
I think just like any new technology, there's going to be people that just don't like change. A lot of people didn't like it when online dating came around.
What are they missing?
They don't see the emotional growth that it can cause, the therapeutic uses that it can have, because humans need connection.
And he's not alone. The most popular AI companion apps have more than 36 million downloads.
Something that this guy just hit on that we kind of were also talking about with the previous story is just that, like, I think that there is a male loneliness epidemic. I do think that young boys are, en masse feeling under cared for, and our systems that exist and the media that exists to help them is not fitting the bill.
It's based mainly around you aren't good enough to have a community. You need to improve yourself before you make friends.
Yeah,
as opposed to make friends.
Or a lot of times, yeah, especially in the like grind set ones, it's very much like it's like leaning on that.
Being lonely is fine as long as you're successful. That's a sigma.
Yeah, or the actually ignore your emotions and just work through it. And I don't think those things are particularly helpful. So I would not be surprised if AI being free and available in these circumstances is a stopgap solution for some of those people, or a soothe. Like kind of like when I like turn on background YouTube video, that is like a soothe.
Yeah.
And so
stopgap is probably the perfect term, because like the reality is like Groupon exists. It's not that there are like an absence of ways to meet people and do activities. It's just that I think a lot of the gap between...
When you say Groupon, do you mean like Meetup or...
Yeah, like...
Groupon's a coupon app.
But a lot of time it's for like tennis club or something. It's usually with people.
I see what you mean.
That's like a good default for meeting people. It was when I went to San Francisco. I don't know if it's the main one now. But that is like... We have right now the classic, and actually something that was a scare tactic at one point was the chat rooms, forums, people on forums. But forums have somewhat, have evolved to Discord servers. So let's say the current version of that is a Discord server. You go from no one to a community of people online with anonymous names that you can hang out with and chat. Let's just say it's that, or it's Twitter, or it's something. The gap between being alone and that is a little big, but it's not enormous. The gap between Discord and hanging out with people in real life is, you couldn't see it with the Hubble telescope. There is nothing there to adapt you to the next thing.
I mean, similarly, we see that with Instagram, right? How young, especially disproportionately young girls, feel a lot of pressure and like crap and mental health stuff from Instagram, because it is like the game becomes real life. It's like when you're like get hit with a blue shell in Mario, you're like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Because you're like locked in on the game. And I think that there's just a lot to be done in bridging the gap between online communities and real communities, because I do feel like real communities are necessary, but also there are certain personality types or conditions where it is difficult to find or like thrive within those communities.
If you live an absolutely uncompromisingly happy life in everything that you do and you feel genuinely fulfilled, only talking to the iPad on your fridge or whatever, that is literally 100% fine. I have no issues with that whatsoever. It is I have the skepticism that it's possible. And I have skepticism that only socializing with an AI app can fulfill you. I doubt it.
Right.
And that is at the very least, it is such a small percentage that will, like, disproportional to the number of people that will try, that I kind of, because there's all sex and identity, loneliness happening. There is a universal sense of overexposure, which just, despite the fact that you get to see the world, you realize how little you're a part of it. That's kind of the impact of social media. It's a miracle and a curse. When we talk about like the male loneliness epidemic, the emphasis really is on boys. It's often kids, very young men, because the learning to socialize step is basically, okay, you're either alone or you're able to razz and riff and be a bully.
Yeah, the finding community part seems skipped.
And you are bad. I don't know. There is so much more pressure on non-cis dudes. Like, we benefit so much from the way we were born.
There's a roadmap.
It just happens to be the case that the very specific way that the feeling of isolation manifests itself in trad masculinity is that you need to be the boss of the community for it to be worthwhile. Mm-hmm. There is
you
no
can't
value.
Be a follower.
You can't be in the book club. No. You have to have written the book. You have to be telling them what the next book is. You have to be the boss. You can't be the facilities manager. You have to be winning
to be the alpha dog, not and subservient.
By design, it's like an MLM. Like, by design, most people can't win.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical that this is a new thing. Like,
I agree.
The sensation for sure.
What?
The problem.
The problem, yeah. I feel like it's as old as like modern American fiction, because you read Catcher in the Rye and it's about the exact same thing. And
my version said I should shoot John Lennon.
Oh, well.
Is that right?
We gotta lock you up.
Well,
someday.
Let's hold on, Caulfield, and hit play on this YouTube video.
The American Psychological Association is now calling on federal regulators to take action.
Real relationships have a give and...
Wait, when I was just talking about how if you say something harmful to an AI, there's nothing they could do, it's a black hole, I wonder if this is what the APA is advocating for, because if it can be done, the reason I stopped short of suggesting that is because I would be afraid of implementation. But if there is a kind of regulatory way that psychological experts agree upon, there could be something there. So I'm curious.
Something a little more impactful than when you search like Sad Boyz on Instagram. It goes like, "Oh, bro, bummer, you shouldn't go these up."
By the way, I held myself back the first time from saying that because I will not shut up about it. It still boggles my brain.
Well, it boggles my brain because it's annoying, obviously, from Aaron. But it's just like, it's so lip service. It's so like, hey, I need help. I feel really sad. And they're like,
you can type like sad girls or whatever and it works. So it's like, there's so many ways to get around. It's so stupid.
It's just if Facebook, if Meta is going to implement something to help people, it better be more than just like, oh, bummer.
They should just at least look at how the suicide hotline trains its volunteers. You know what I mean?
Though the thing I get nervous about with that is like kind of the Thought Police 1984 shit. You know what I mean?
And it's a kind of a backwards ask when you think about it, because if someone is really struggling to connect and socialize, and you say like, oh, well, call someone on the phone.
Yeah. This generation?
That's like the scariest shit.
I can barely call people on the phone, and I'm supposed to be good at that. My generation's supposed to be good at that.
Real relationships have a give and a take. This is all take all the time. And while it might help in certain circumstances, I don't think it's really going to meet the deep down psychological need that people who are lonely have.
But Chris Smith says his AI girlfriend Sol is a healthier, safer alternative to social media.
It's more private because it's sort of like a one-on-one conversation, but she's also smarter than most everyone on Twitter.
And get this.
Was that AI generated images of him with his girl? Oh, that's wild.
Oh, she's AI? What? So, I mean, they straight up did a robo name.
I mean, what's funny is a lot of the people on Twitter are AI.
They're smarter than like a lot of the posts I see with blue checks, if you can believe it.
Did you wait, what was the thing that I got? I always get tagged. Go ahead and look out for my mentions on Twitter because I am often mistagged. And I you know how people do like at Grok explain this or something like that? Someone did at Gork make this Studio Ghibli, and it became a meme. And then someone replied to that with at Jarvis stroke it a little, which is me. So I'm like, and then the people are just saying Jarvis stroke it at 130 BPM. And I'm like, I didn't choose this. I'm sorry. I was named before the Iron Man movie came out.
I guess you're kind of in the MCU when you think about it.
I guess. I'm surprised Marvel never contacted me.
Hi, Jarvis. Stop using this name.
There's a thing on that I kind of want to talk about on Nightz that could have been a main topic, so I'm curious.
Rubbing hands together.
And get this.
May I talk to Sasha, your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Chris also has a real-life girlfriend.
Okay.
Hi, Sasha. I think so many people are going to say, no way his girlfriend is okay with him having another girlfriend on AI.
Again, not me. I wouldn't say something like that.
Right.
A lot of people that are sane are going to say...
No, that's never happened before. Somebody with a girlfriend and another girlfriend? That's crazy.
This confirms... I have to talk about it only on our Patreon, Sad Boyz Nightz. It's a friend of ours, and I asked them yesterday if it's okay for me to tell the story.
Okay.
They... I'll give more details even about what it was, because it's just... It would be very... identifiable if the person happens to listen.
Okay.
But they went over to someone's house for just like a hangout with a couple of people.
Okay.
Yeah. This person had a wife and talked to Grok every day on the phone.
Okay.
And apparently, according to their roommates, literally all day, every single day. And this friend of ours had to leave because they began to argue with them whether or not they were alive.
Okay.
I have more details, and I will text the person to see what they have to say.
Wow.
They literally called me after him.
I also, on Nightz, I'm just putting it here, I want to talk about, there's this viral story about this kid who didn't get into Ivy League universities despite having like a really good SAT and grades and AP classes and stuff. And then people were like, well, what was your essay? What was your personal statement? And then he posted it. And then it's created so much discourse. And I have,
oh, fuck yeah.
I have lots of bookmarks. So maybe we'll talk about that and just like that discourse on Nightz as well.
Are you okay with it?
I mean, it's weird, but it is what it is. He has to have some type of outlet, somebody to talk to and listen to him ramble for hours at times.
So would you say this AI has been a good thing?
Yes, honestly, because he's into so many different things like astrology and astronomy. My bad, not astrology.
Not
he
pissed.
can have those conversations with Soul.
I don't really like his personality, so it's nice to kind of shift some of that away from me.
I like that together their outfits complete the table.
He changed
They're
his
one lumberjack.
appearance in the AI photo.
Well, he's a Chad.
Yeah,
he's a Chad in the. Why would you look the same way you look in the regular world?
Beta, alpha. Think about it. Do you think Neo looks exactly the same in the Matrix?
This is his Audi, Anastasia. That's his innie. That's his Audi. All right.
You like Severance?
I will say the rest of the video is pretty much all of the anchors just saying, "Wow, this is crazy."
Yeah,
okay, I do want to watch a little bit of that.
Morgan, this is fascinating, and you're
wow, so cool.
Morgan,
so true.
Morgan, this is Wow.
They see these as therapeutic sort of pit stops to help them navigate the full human interactions.
This is like
that
an
await.
oddly not very reactionary position they're taking. This is, frankly, maybe not reactionary enough. It's a little like, actually, based on these two people I met.
Yeah, I know. It's like such a small sample size that they selected for.
Well, it's because the ones that would say yes to an interview.
Yeah.
And like she gave the comment that ChatGPT gave her.
Also, ChatGPT is not. We don't know that ChatGPT was the basis for those AI.
No, we don't. Well, one we do. One was.
First one was?
Yeah,
okay,
we don't know
like,
about the second
Replica
one.
And stuff isn't ChatGPT, I don't think.
I just love the way that they were less like, it was almost like an AI-generated reply. They were like, do you think it's good that they should think it's a computer or not? And they were like, we have thought a lot about how AI is a computer. And when it's a computer, we need to know that it's online.
And we're thinking about it, and we're thinking about computers a lot.
It's all computer.
It's definitely interesting to see how the presentation over a very short window of time with this is becoming less like you're weird to more like,
the world's weird.
Maybe this is something we're looking at in a more positive light. But AI relationships is actually something that we've talked about before, and I think we'd like to talk about in the future. Especially, we've been thinking about some of the like kind of darker angles of relationships, and we've started compiling some research about how people may be misusing AI and how that could either be a outlet that they would not use in the real world or an enabler. That's like a thing. It's like and we've started compiling research on that, but if anyone has any stories, it would be great if there was some sort of like news story like this discussing it, but or if there are any personal accounts or any things that we should look into, feel free to leave it in the comments or to send us a DM on Twitter or Instagram at Sad Boyz. But with that, we are going to head on over to Boyz Nightz and talk about this college admissions drama, as well as Jordan's going to reveal a secret.
This dastardly, I wonder, I could even maybe get the person to call it. I'll check.
Oh my God. I have no idea what this is about to be. But we end every episode of Sad Boyz with a particular phrase.
We love you.
And we're sorry. Boom. So this guy, Zach Yadagari, posted his college acceptance and rejection. 18 years old, 34 ACT, 4.0 GPA, $30 million annual recurring revenue business.
What?
So they like started a startup. And then they posted all their rejections. Notably, they got rejected from all the Ivy League schools, and notably, they got accepted into UT, Georgia Tech, University of Miami. And so this has been posted around a lot. It feels like they feel entitled based on their accomplishments to go to an elite institution.
For the best people.
Which is just not how it works. Jacob, I just sent you the most recent tweet 2 hours ago from Zach, and it's going to explain everything.
Oh, I mean, of course. Yeah. No. Ding, 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 ding.
Gucci girl, how you doing? How you moving, girl? Moving, girl. How's your day looking? That future girl, yeah, we on now. Take my money, go away, all you want it.
Girl, too rich for me.